Hey guys, welcome to the Locker Room Podcast. I am Oliver, and today I'm joined by Sharpy.
How are we all?
I am great, thank you. How things change in a week? We
Well,
thought the Suns could sweep them or gentlemen sweep them, but no.
Milwaukee definitely turned that around.
I think the key to that was Drew Holiday showing up in one game and Middleton showing up in the other game. I mean,
Yeah, definitely. They both decided to hit their shots, especially Drew Holiday and Middleton in game 3. Maybe not in game 4 for Holiday, but that's when Middleton turned up.
I think Giannis just needs one other player to really turn up alongside him because he's always going to get his stats. It's just about getting that helping hand from his teammates. And with 8 assists in game 4, I mean, it shows that if his teammates are hitting shots, they're hard to stop.
Exactly. No, they played well. I really enjoyed watching Milwaukee yesterday. I could even Pat Connaughton off the bench with 11 points and 9 rebounds.
Yeah, he was really good.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
A big factor that could happen later into this series is both teams, well, especially the Suns with Dario Saric going down, both teams are running an 8-man lineup. So you're seeing a lot of the starters play 42, 44 minutes each game. And you saw Booker in game 3 only play 25 minutes and get 10 points, I think. So it's about, I reckon, who's going to deal with the fatigue better.
Yeah, well, Brook Lopez only played 19 minutes yesterday and he was starting. So they went to Giannis at the 5. A lot yesterday.
And I said that last week. I liked that switch when they had him at the 5 for a bit. They just didn't stick with it long enough. Now, this might be considered a hot take. You might disagree, but I think that in this series, obviously Giannis is the star player for the Bucks, the most important player. But I think maybe it's recency bias, but I think Chris Middleton is just as important to the team winning as Giannis, because if he's on and he hits his shots, Giannis is obviously going to do what is expected, get his dunks, play his defense. I think if Middleton's clicking, that team's nearly too hard to beat.
Yeah, just hoping he turns up in game 5 because hopefully this isn't a one game thing for him. So the importance of this series as well, the finals in the postseason, not the off season. Had that brought up to me quite a bit on the first episode. So sorry to anyone that I triggered there.
But I'm worried that Middleton might not show up in Phoenix. I feel like he might have that type of how role players approach a finals game on the road. They're not as good
under
shooting.
Pressure.
Yeah, they're under pressure, but at home they feel comfortable. They know the atmosphere and But I think just as important is Drew Holiday. I mean,
yeah. Look, it was bad, but he did rock up with those 7 rebounds and 7 assists and 3 steals. So
he's definitely getting his stats.
He's helping out in other areas though, which I think you can't knock him for that. So that's good.
Well, game 4, Middleton did carry the load. And you look at Drew Holiday's stats and say, 13 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. It's an okay game, but he shot 4 for 20, which is atrocious.
Yeah.
But you got to take into consideration he clamped up Chris Paul nearly all game. And I have here that I reckon Chris Paul was one of the main reasons the Suns lost game 4.
Yeah. Yeah, with those 5 turnovers, yeah.
Especially that big one late where he slipped. I know that's a bit unfortunate, but maybe he got in his own head after halftime and
he was trying to do too much with the ball, I reckon.
Yeah.
And even missing those mid-range shots. Like I thought he never misses those mid-range shots.
Yeah. I think you shouldn't be wasting a game from Booker like that if you're Chris Paul. I mean, Ayton did really well the first quarter. You went missing a bit on the offensive end, but he was huge on the defensive end. So I don't blame him too much about it, but yeah.
How good was the atmosphere though in the Milwaukee?
It was loud. I
It
was
was
listening
great.
to it and it was just unreal. But that Giannis block,
Yeah, on 8 there, that was really good.
he's had 2 clutch blocks, one compared to LeBron, obviously, with the chase down. And this one, I do, looking at the replay, I do think the pass was a bit off. It was a bit too high for Ayton. He couldn't just quickly throw it down. He would have probably had to lay it up or something. But Giannis to just recover like that, I'm not saying it's better than the LeBron dunk, because it's not, but it's probably more difficult to do what he did. Whereas LeBron, it was a chase down, but it was from behind, so it's a little bit easier. Both hard, but
LeBron does that in his sleep, but
exactly. LeBron's a sneak up behind and block the crap out of you type of person. Yeah,
king.
But I was reading something yesterday. Middleton outscored the Suns in the last 2.5 minutes. I mean,
the last quarter, Phoenix were just chucking up heaps of shots, like especially Booker as well. Probably should have been fouled out. Also, just quick note, he wasn't making any shots. He sat for, I think, 5 minutes of the last quarter. Even the commentators were saying, "When's he coming in? When's he coming in?" Because he was the main scorer for the team yesterday with 42 points. So,
well, they were up 9 at some point with like 10 minutes left or 8 minutes left in the game, and you're in that situation. And I know fully well as an Oklahoma City fan from last season, if you're up by that much and you got Chris Paul on your team, you're pretty comfortable that you're going to get it home. You're going to get the win.
Yeah.
Even if Chris Paul had a bad night like he did, but he hit a couple of shots in a row in the third when Booker went off, but he never really got into that groove.
Well, neither Booker or Paul hit a 3 yesterday. They only shot 7 for 23 from 3. So there was no 3-pointers between both teams, really.
I don't mind that from Booker. Chris Paul, I'd like to see maybe take 1 or 2 threes, but Booker, I don't mind, because he was very aggressive going to the ring, and he's like left-hand flick up shots were just falling. It was a bit ridiculous, some of the shots he was hitting, but in saying that, it was good to see him and Middleton just going back and forth at each other. I think the key to Game 5 is, one, Chris Paul, whether he actually shows up, and Chris Middleton.
Yeah. Can he back it up?
Are you sticking with your prediction?
Phoenix.
Phoenix winning the series still?
I still reckon Phoenix could win it. Yeah.
I think we could. Drastic change here, but I really think we could see a Game 7 series or a 7-game series.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And if it goes that far, I think every home team's going to win their home game. So I think the Suns will steal it at home. But imagine the atmosphere, Game 7.
Yeah, that would be good. There'd be screaming when Giannis is taking free throws.
Oh, that's going to be unreal. And imagine if Giannis comes out winner, like Jesus. Oh, I say Giannis, I mean the Bucks, but like
we all know it's Giannis.
Yeah. all the hate though that Coach Bud has been getting after nearly, like, who they lost to. They were nearly going to lose to the Nets, which, I mean, you can't argue. But then again,
everyone had Nets as favorites.
Yeah. And they sweep they swept the Heat. But I think when they lost the first game to the Hawks at home, I think everyone was overreacting and everyone was going for Coach Bud's head. And I mean, people just forget that he's coached some mediocre teams to great places, like that Hawks team that finished first in the East. Who'd they have? Technically, they had 4 All-Stars, I think, but it was Al Horford, Joe Johnson,
Jeff Teague,
Kyle Korver, no superstars as good as like Joe Johnson and stuff was. No superstars, just stars. But they did get swept by LeBron in the conference finals. But I feel like Bud's obviously he's appreciated by some, but he's underappreciated by a lot more, I reckon.
Exactly.
Moving on, there's more basketball going on than just the finals, thankfully. The Olympic Games, Australia, best team in the world, I reckon, right now.
Yeah, the preseason, like the warm-up games.
You can't argue it. We don't need Ben Simmons. We've beaten Team USA. We've beaten.
Who is he?
Yeah, exactly. We beat Team USA. We beat Nigeria, who beat Team USA, and then
We beat
obviously
Argentina.
Patty Mills coming up clutch for against Argentina. I have one issue with that final play. Aaron Baines wasn't on the court. You've got to get your best player on the court, and Aaron Baines wasn't there. And now I think he's a little bit injured, which is gut wrenching. But if he's right for the Olympics, I reckon we can secure a silver or gold medal.
Obviously. Yeah, there's no way you're stopping Frank Ntilikina for France. So
yeah, yep. Or any of or RJ Barrett for Canada if they actually made the Olympics.
Yeah, nice.
There was a lot of great players over those 3 games. Obviously, you got your Mills game winner and you got your Joe Ingles being consistent. Who impressed you the most out of those 3 games?
Matisse Thybulle and Jock Landale, sorry, my bad.
I don't know much about Jock Landale. I'm just going to be honest out there. I saw him on the court and I'm like, who the hell is this bloke?
Yeah, no, he's playing for Melbourne United. He was actually in Atlanta's summer league team a few years ago. He's really, I enjoyed him in the post and everything. He's playing really well in there. I reckon when Baines came off the court, he stepped in and played his role really well.
And it's hard to come off the bench for Baines because the physical tone set as he sets can't be matched. But against Team USA, I only watched a bit of it, but some of the defense Thybulle was playing on, or Thybulle, however you want to pronounce it, was playing on KD. I remember one that stuck in my head was when he recovered and blocked KD's mid-range shot, which, I mean, it's pretty hard to block KD's shot because he's just so tall and lanky.
Yeah.
But even I know you watched a bit of the Nigeria game. Chris Goulding, apparently, I see
could not miss a shot. 7 for 7 from 3.
He is the Australian
and he had 21
icon.
points. Yeah,
he is an Australian icon. I mean,
get him on the Knicks.
He's the NBL version of Joe Ingles. Just doesn't miss from 3. Maybe he's a bit quicker than. Oh God, I'm gonna get that's gonna get brought up. He's a bit quicker than Joe Ingles, but then again, who isn't?
With the dad bod Joe Ingles, yeah.
I reckon Australia can go really well in the Olympics. I mean, maybe it's good that we don't have Simmons. Maybe we can stretch the 4 because, I mean, even Baines can drill a 3, and if he plays at the 5, you got everyone that can shoot a 3. So
yeah, it was also good to see Josh Giddey play yesterday. I didn't expect him to play for the Boomers in these games. Obviously, he's going to be coming up in the draft later on this month. So it was good to see him actually play. I didn't get to watch much of him in the NBL this season, but he's looking good.
Well, Shams just tweeted a bit earlier. Don't know if you saw this, but apparently he's been invited to the green room. So
yeah, I did see that. Yeah,
depending on how, we'll be interested to see where he goes and how high he actually goes in the draft.
He's projected in the 12 to 16 range. So hopefully he might be able to go to Spurs or maybe even OKC.
Oh, if he comes to OKC getting Cade Cunningham. Already told you that. And we're getting that Vren's bloke. I don't know how to say his last name, but he just looks like a unicorn anyway. 2 Pokachevskis on the team. That's all we need.
On his Twitter handle, he's got 6'11" point guard.
Well, it doesn't sound like he's going to be wrong. He's just going to be pulling up drilling them. Maybe go to the G
going,
League, OKC Blue for a bit.
he's going with the Knicks, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, yeah, it would be.
He's worked out with a few teams. So.
Yeah, he gets around. But we'll leave that for your for the draft preview that we do eventually. Euros were on earlier this week. I was technically right, I guess, with Italy winning. I did say it would go to added time. It did. I did call it 2-1 Italy win, but
yeah, I called it 2-0 England. So
I said if it goes to penalties, England wouldn't win because Kane's penalty didn't really give me much trust against Denmark. So,
yeah.
Thoughts on the game?
Yeah, it was Italy probably should have won in regular time. They had 19 shots to 6. So surely one of them would have gone in, but Jordan Pickford, what a goalkeeper he is.
And
that's why he's England's number one, especially in the penalty shootouts as well, saving everything, nearly bailing them out.
As a Liverpool fan, and I hate to say it, he was unreal. Like I don't know how he saves some of the shots when he's got T-Rex arms and he's not as tall as Donnarumma, but I think Luke Shaw was unreal the whole tournament. And that goal he scored in the final, I mean,
second minute as well, early on in the game.
What a start. Well, England dominated about the first 15, 20 minutes. And it looked like they were going to score. They just kept getting overlap to Trippier on the right side. But they just couldn't put it in the back of the net. Some saves by Donnarumma, but none off the top of my head that I can remember that were actually too difficult for him.
They didn't have that many shots though, unfortunately, but they did get in good spots to maybe get one off, but they just couldn't find the right pass.
I think Mancini though was just the mastermind behind the whole win, because I mean, in the 20th minute, you look at the stats and England were all over them, but as soon as they stopped that overlap, that Trippier was getting, Italy dominated from at least 30-minute, 40-minute, and especially after half time.
He dominated on the possession stats as well. They had 65% of the possession also. So, and their passing was also really good. I think they had about a 90% pass accuracy. Also.
Yeah. And Italy were missing one of the best players in Spinazzola, which thought would be a big miss. But like, I'm surprised, like, is it Emerson that was playing at left back, the former Chelsea left back? Emerson, or
might have been him.
I think it was him. And like, I didn't really rate him that highly, but even he had a good game. But it was really weird watching it. Chiellini was always drifting off to nearly left back. And obviously he had that tackle on
controversial tackle.
Yeah, very controversial. You think it's a red card, obviously?
Yeah, look, you can't be doing that. You can't be throwing someone down by their shirt and stuff, especially pulling them back. So I reckon that's a red.
It probably is a red, I reckon, but I don't think the referee wanted to change the game in such a big way so close to the end, because obviously that's going to change the game. But I mean, Italy were hard at it all day. Obviously complaints about whether Jorginho should have been on the field as well with his tackle on Grealish.
That
could have been a red, but I think that was good enough to be yellow. Red would have been pretty harsh.
There was 21 fouls in that game.
Yeah, and most of them probably were Italy's fouls.
Italy, yeah.
I was mixing between Italy and Italian. But they were a lot more aggressive. But Chiesa, geesh, he looked like the biggest threat to score, and then he gets injured, and I was a bit disappointed when I saw him get injured.
Yeah, he didn't really have much of the ball.
Now he's linked with Liverpool, so
also Barella as well. He's also linked with the midfielder from Inter Milan. He's also linked with Liverpool.
Well, hopefully we can actually get someone to replace Wijnaldum. Like I do hope Oxlade-Chamberlain comes back, but
we've also got Naby Keita as well.
Yeah, and when he comes back from injury, he should be. Hopefully, he can return to what he was. But we'll leave that for a transfer when they start heating up.
Actually, speaking of transfers, they actually are heating up a bit. PSG have brought in 3 new players this window. They've brought in Ramos, Hakimi, and Donnarumma, fresh off a Euro win, all on frees as well. Oh, no. Okay, so Ramos and Donnarumma are on frees. Unfortunately, my bad. That's
and you forgot
correction.
about Wijnaldum, obviously.
Oh yeah, exactly.
As we were speaking of him.
Yeah, I knew there was a third free. I just forgot who it was. That's my bad.
Hakimi is a big get for them because he was targeted by Chelsea as well.
Mm.
So
Yeah, and obviously as a Dortmund fan, I really loved him when he was there. So unfortunately, he went to Inter.
And speaking of Chelsea, their first bid for Haaland got turned down.
Yeah, they were willing to offer cash plus either Hudson-Odoi or I can't remember who the other one was.
Tammy Abraham.
Was it Tammy? Yeah, it was Tammy Abraham.
I mean, they would have had to been a lot of money on top of that because that's a pretty poor offer, I would have thought.
Yeah, well, Haaland next summer has got a $75 million release clause, so he's going to be hot property next summer.
Let's just hope it's not Man City bound.
Yes, I hope so too.
Back to the Euros though. I want your opinion. Gareth Southgate in the 120th minute, bringing on Sancho and Rashford, who ultimately, as everyone knows, both missed their penalties. There's been a lot of debate whether it was a good decision, bad decision. Where do you stand on that situation?
Well, I reckon they're just unlucky to miss the penalties, really. Like, I don't know. You can't just say they brought him on to take their penalties because Harry Maguire went second in the penalty shootout. So it's weird, but Donnarumma's keeping, and that Rashford's run up to take the penalty was a bit weird. Never seen that before. But yeah, I don't know.
I think I've seen a lot of England fans complaining, saying like they haven't had any touches of the ball to warm up or anything. And I'm like, I think to myself, you got 3 situations. You bring them on earlier and you're going to be playing Rashford at right back or something. So you could actually just lose the game in added time and not go to penalties. You got a situation that happened where you bring them on in the 120th minute and they both miss, and people blaming not being ready.
Florenzi was subbed on in the 118th minute. So
yeah. Well, yeah, exactly.
Henderson was subbed on in the 74th minute, then subbed off in the 120th minute.
I think he should have stayed, and taken one of the penalties. But like, and then the third situation is, do you leave? Who were they? Kyle Walker and I can't remember who. Trippier, who have played 120 minutes of football, probably not confident to take a penalty. And their defenders, I mean, yeah, we saw Maguire put his top bins, but who knows what happened in training.
Trippier is good at set pieces, but that's why.
Yeah, well, who knows?
He was subbed on for Saka. He subbed off for Saka, sorry.
Yeah.
So,
well, who knows what happened in training as well. So, I mean, Saka probably put his top bins every time, but it's difficult to replicate that in the walk and everything, especially when you got someone the height of Donnarumma in goals. That's just scary.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like the best players miss penalties all the time. It's nothing. Yeah, it's just in that circumstance when you miss the penalty. That's why it was so big. But you look at John Terry, he missed that penalty. Like ages ago. He slipped and everything. And like the best players like Messi, Ronaldo, they've all missed penalties and stuff. So
it's just annoying.
Can't be too harsh on him.
It's annoying that John Terry slips and loses in the Champions League, but everyone seems to only remember Gerrard's slip. That one's a bit of a tough pill to swallow, but let's not stay on that topic for much longer. Where is it? So it's that time of the week now for everyone's favorite moment. Slugs. Horsy, horsey. Brought to you by our good mate Slug, obviously. So he got 1 out of 3 on the weekend last weekend, and then his midweek horse that he's got vested interest in Twisted Fury obviously got up, stormed home. Never looked like losing really. So thanks Slug for that. So he's 2 for 4 so far. This weekend, all of these tips are at Flemington, so it's a bit easier. Race 3, number 7, Lindhout. Correct me if I'm saying that wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. Lindhout. Race 4, number 3 at Flemington, Furion. And his roughie, race 5, number 14 at Flemington. Now, I've had issues trying to say this, but Messerschmitt, paying $46. So, I mean, it's definitely a roughie, but remember, cheer them on, see if they get up. It'll be interesting to see if you can actually get a couple right again. Bet responsibly. Moving on to the AFL. Are you still with us, Sharpy?
Yeah, I am.
Obviously, Geelong smashed Freo last night. I don't even know how it was even money. Richmond play Brisbane tonight. Richmond are pretty heavy underdogs at Metricon Stadium. Richmond have got a few ins. I'm a Richmond supporter, so we've got Lambert and Toby Nank back in, and Matthew Parker making his debut. And the big outs for Brisbane, obviously, is probably Eric Hipwood and the barometer Reece Matheson. Sharpie, who are you backing in this game?
I reckon Richmond. I reckon they're going to be real fired up after losing that. Plus, also in Jack Riewott's 300th game this weekend, or tonight, sorry.
Yeah, I agree. I completely forgot to say that it was Riewott's 300th game, but I think...
You call yourself a Richmond fan.
Yeah, I've only been a Richmond fan since 2017. Give me a break. But I Richmond have found a way to beat Brisbane a lot recently. I think we lost our last game to Brisbane, but before that, it was like 11-game streak or something. So I think Richmond with an upset tonight. Tomorrow is Melbourne Hawthorn. No big ins or outs from Melbourne. And probably the biggest out or a couple big outs for Hawks is Jyath, who's been playing really well for them, and Segler, both injured. Is it really a discussion, this game?
No, not really. Melbourne.
I think Melbourne by about 80 points. And it's played at the MCG, surprisingly, with lockdown 5.0.
I don't know. I think it might have moved, I think.
No, I think they're playing a few games in Melbourne.
Oh, okay.
That teams that didn't have to come from out of state to come in. So yeah, I think that one's still in Melbourne. Next game as well, probably not a discussion. Bulldogs versus Suns.
Yeah.
So-called doggy supporter.
The astronaut returns.
The astronaut returns, but you've got Tom Liberatore going out as well. But then again, Josh Dunkley's coming back in. So, I mean, they're not some bad ins and outs. And obviously the Suns have got one of the best players in Hugh Greenwood out, and Oleg Markov, former Richmond star. He's out injured. So, yeah, I don't think that's a discussion. I have the Dogs winning. A rather closer game here. It's at Marvel Stadium, so it's going to favour St Kilda. St Kilda versus Port. Port Adelaide have Butters, Rosie, Motlop, and Cleary all out. And the only known player that I know coming back in is Peter Laddams. Who have you got in that game?
Miss Rosie. I liked watching him. I've probably got St Kilda in this game.
I've got Port Adelaide, but look, the way St Kilda's been playing lately, Jack Steele's one of the best players in the comp, and I don't like saying that because I'm not a really big fan of St Kilda, especially taking Jack Higgins and Dan Butler off us. But I mean, they could happily take Jack Higgins. I just wanted to keep Dan Butler. I think Jack Higgins had to leave anyway because Rancy. Now this is an interesting game, especially off North Melbourne's win against West Coast. It's at Metricon Stadium. North versus Essendon. Big in for Essendon is Dyson Heppel. Big out for North is Ben Cunnington. He's being managed. I think the Bombers are going to be too strong. But what do you think on that one?
Yeah, I got the Bombers as well. It was a good win from North Melbourne against West Coast, but yeah, I've got the Bombers here.
Yeah, I think Lockie's going to be in for another disappointment. It's safe to say.
Shout out to Lockie.
Yeah. Collingwood Carlton, obviously a big rivalry. Mason Cox is back in after his game-saving tackle against Richmond's VFL team.
Yeah, he kicked 2 on the weekend as well.
I don't know if that warrants him getting back in the team, but I'll be interested to see because I think it's meant to be wet in Melbourne on Sunday, and bringing in someone that's 6 foot, however many, back into the team, I don't know if that's a smart option. But who you got in this one?
I've got Collingwood in this one. I got Jack Ginnivan in, kicked 4 on the weekend against Richmond in the VFL. Unfortunately, Will Kelly got injured. He's a really good player. Also, so I've got Collingwood here.
Let's not think back to last week about Collingwood's last game because I'd rather not. But,
in the VFL he kicked 4. So
no, but I mean, just in general, Richmond losing both VFL and somehow losing in the AFL. I think Collingwood are starting to find themselves a bit more now, and it's going to be a really good game. But I think Collingwood will just get over the top. Adelaide Oval, Adelaide Crows versus West Coast Eagles. Eagles have Archie and Barras out. No real big names coming in. Mark Hutchings, he's not too bad, but the Crows have got a lot of players coming back in with Fogarty, Himmelberg, Walker, Tom Lynch. It's at Adelaide Oval. It's the odds makers have it at 50-50 right now when I last checked. I'm surprised by that. As bad as the Eagles travel, I have the Eagles winning this. I don't see them finding a way to lose this.
I've got the Eagles win this as well, especially in Nick Nat's 200th game.
And Brody Smith's though, so everyone don't know what's going to happen there. And the final game of the weekend, Breed's Sydney Swans go up against the GWS Giants in the, what do they call it? The Sydney Derby, or is that what it's called?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, trying to copy
soccer. New South Wales.
Yeah, they're a bit weird over there. Now, the Giants have a few big outs. Obviously, Lockie Whitfield out, Mumford out. Local from here, Lockie Ash is out. He's been omitted. So, and Bobby Hill. Canilio comes back in, and De Boer. The others I don't really know. I've never heard of. And Matt Flynn. Who have you got in this game? It's Nick Blakey's 50th. What a star he is.
Yeah, shout out to Nick Blakey. I probably have Sydney. The way they played on the weekend, especially, was unbelievable. To beat that team, to be that dominating in that game as well.
Sydney are just one of those teams where you didn't expect them to be nearly this good. I think they're going through a rebuilding stage yet. Just the way they play the game is unreal, and they always find a way to get a result. I think they've comfortably
they're still sitting 6th at the moment. So yeah, they're 8 points clear at 6th.
I think they're comfortably getting into the finals. I don't see them falling out.
Yeah.
And, I don't really care for Buddy getting his 1,000th goal this year or not, to be honest. I'd rather just see Swans play good footy, but because I like a lot of their players like Kennedy, and I don't like Papley one bit. But I do like Rampy and Lloyd. So
yeah, I do like Lloyd as well. He had 33 touches last week for Sydney.
He's a gun, but on the other side is Toby Green. He's an absolute weapon.
That goal he kicked was really good as well.
He always finds a way, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I think that's it for the footy, and that's it for this week's podcast. Thanks for joining us again, Sharpy.
Yeah, no worries. Apologies again for saying off season instead of post season last week. I pride myself in working hard on those types of things, so my bad.
Yeah, well, it's all about improving.
Yeah.
Each week we'll get better, I don't doubt.
Hopefully.
Well, thank you for listening, and we'll be back next week with probably, there's not going to be as much sport on, I don't think, is there, Sharpy?
Yeah, we're getting closer to the Olympics and the NBA draft. So,
Well, we'll know who's won the finals hopefully by next week. Obviously, we'll have the AFL, and we'll see what else is going on. All right. Thank you for listening. Again, thank you, Sharpy, and goodbye.